raised to 3,600.
Gus has never seen two cards he doesn't like.
Queen Little suited for Ben Collins of Troy, Michigan. He'll fold. Ian Bobbin with a King Jack.
Cool.
2,400 to call for him, and he does. A little discount. 10-9 deuce.
This looks like a great flop for Bobbin, but the problem is Hansen has position. He can choose to bluff or see a free card. He's going to check and see a free card, look for that straight.
An ace on the turn.
Check it again.
And a check from Bobbin. And a check from Hansen. To the river, a 9.
One more time.
3 checks in a row to Gus Hansen is like an engraved invitation that says, please rob me.
And let's see if Hansen's true to form. Of course. 8,600. And now what will Bobbin do?
I'll watch it on TV later.
That's what he'll do. He'll watch it on TV.
You're a thief, Gus.
I'm known to be. Been known to be.
And he's also known to be a lot of things, including one of the best players in the game today.
He's world class. He's a bull. He's a tiger. He's all the vicious animals wrapped into one.
Gus Hansen is the ultimate smokescreen.
Gus is tricky to play against because, you know, a lot of people play a certain way, certain hands have certain values. It's kind of harder to get into his head than another player who plays more straightforward.
There's a lot of different ways to play a poker hand. There's no right, no wrong. When I started out playing tournaments, I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I had some ideas. I had a lot of success with it in the beginning, so I said, hey, why change a winning game?
When he first came out, he was just insane. He was all over the place. He was playing crazy hands and crazy spots. And he still does that a little bit. He mixes it up, but now Gus is playing a more patient, well-rounded game.
You look at him and you think he's just chaos and doesn't have a clue. He's just kind of wild. But everything he does is rooted in mathematics. He's just a very smart player that has everybody fooled.
You see Gus Hansen speaking into a little voice recorder there, Barry. He actually makes notes on the play that he reviews later. And I believe that helps him not only when he sees guys down the road on the tournament trail, but to analyze his own play.
I would only be concerned if the recorder talked back. King 10 for Dunwoody, Australia native from Queensland. Races to 3,600. Hansen ace jack. Call. Now Collins.
Good fold there. Strength shown before. When Madsen's in the big blind, he'll get a discount here. Still pretty borderline call there with the 7-5.
So 3 players to the flop. Ace 10-4 on the flop.
Both Dunwoody and Hansen improve, but Hansen has top pair.
Check from Madsen. Dunwoody bets 10,500. Now Hansen with a pair of aces. He'll call. That's enough to get Madsen out. 4 on the turn. And a check from Dunwoody.
Dunwoody didn't get much information from Hansen's call on the turn. He could have a lot of hands.
Now Hansen bets 16,600. And Dunwoody, trying to figure him out, does make the call. And a 3 on the river.
Potential action killer there. Completes a flush, and you see Hansen studying the Australian.
Dunwoody checks.
As usual, I don't know what's going on in this hand. As usual, I don't know what's going on in this hand. It's kind of one of those situations where either I've won enough or I've lost enough. Which means I'm going to check.
I like that play right there, and Gus Hansen is going to earn a 67,000 chip pot.
Oh, Sam.
Well, Gus Hansen, again, very tough guy to figure out. He was saying he couldn't figure anybody else out on that hand, but I'll tell you, he's on a roll, and that means trouble for the rest of the field here at the Aussie Millions. We're coming back. Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions. It's day 2 of this main event, and there are a little over 200 players left. Chips are flying around the Crowns card room. Those are the chips of Patrick Antonius, but that's not Patrick collecting them. It's Mark Karam, who just took about $85,000 out of our former chip leader's stack.
Being super aggressive is a two-edged sword. Sometimes you fall on your own blade.
And over at another table, last time we saw Joe Hashem, he had doubled up. He currently has $36,000 in chips, and now the tables are turned. He has Spiro Zephyros all in.
Oh, great flop for Hashem. Trip jacks, and Zephyros is going to need running aces.
And that'll do it for Joe Hashem, who all of a sudden is on a bit of a run here.
I'm working here.
Well, he is working. He's got a little bit of traction going on here at the 2007 Aussie Millions. Joe Hashem now at about 40,000 in chips and moving up. 747 players began our competition here. Right now, there are 231 left. Total chips in play, almost 15 million, and the average stack now at 64,000 and change. Gus Hansen at our feature table continuing to steamroll here. 130,000. Jeff Batson hanging in there at 83,000. Klaus Lodahl still short stack, 2,100. Back at our feature table here, and we have added a new player, Wade Wolfell. Currently, 45,800 in chips.
Tough assignment for the young man. It's hard enough to get moved to a new table where you have to learn a whole bunch of new players all at once. But then add the television lights and the star power. Pretty intimidating.
Action continuing here, and Matson with a king-queen. Makes it 4,500. Ace-8 for Gus Hansen. He'll let it go. Collins, though, with pocket jacks here.
Well, poker players like to say there's 3 ways to play pocket jacks, all of them wrong. But here, I'd like to see a raise.
He called. Still a slight edge over Madsen. 2 players to the flop. A pair of 10s and a 4 on the flop.
Terrific flop for Collins. His jacks are good here. And I think that check is meant to be setting up a check raise, but Madsen does not comply.
And an 8 on the turn.
Okay, Collins must bet here, Barry. There is now 2 different flush draws out there, a straight draw.
Collins
reaching for chips.
4,800 the bet from Collins. Now what does Madsen do?
Madsen either folds or raises. I just can't see calling here.
He calls.
And that tells me Madsen is going to try to take this pot away on the river. That's the only reason.
And it's a 7 on the river.
And that's the kind of scare card that Collins didn't want to see. He was hoping for something red. A nice black 7 came up.
7,500 the bet.